here is one of the integral. Well, listen, he was a very valuable Met. He was more of a valuable Giant later, but we get a chance to have a chat. I'm looking forward to this with Kevin Mitchell, MVP in '89. This was a tremendous offensive player for a 4 or 5 year period, and he says hello. Kevin, nice to talk. Christopher Russo, how are you today?
Chris,
okay?
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
You got it. Nice to have you with us. Is it true that you were basically taking your uniform off when they called you to pinch hit against Schiraldi in Game 6 in the 10th inning? Is that accurate, Kevin?
No, that's not accurate. I was actually in the clubhouse. I mean, the other rumor is that I was making a phone call to make my flights to go home. I mean, as a rookie, you don't pay for your flights to go home. I wasn't making that much money as a rookie, so why should I be in the clubhouse making a flight to go home?
100%. So we could put that to rest in the clubhouse with Hernandez. Now, they called you to pinch hit. The momentum of the inning had begun. The couple of hits there, of course, Carter and everything else. And this is probably the key hit of the inning. A hanging slider. You knocked it into center field. Tell me about the at-bat. Go ahead.
Well, Schiraldi was always my roommate in the minor leagues. And we always used to sit around the house and talk about how he would pitch me. And actually, he threw me a fastball in for the first time, and the way he said he was going to pitch me. And I leaned over the plate to look for the slider. I ended up getting it and ended up hitting it at left field.
A huge hit. Now, the inning, took off from there, and obviously the great at-bat. People think that the Mets tied the game on the Buckner error. They tied the game on the wild pitch, and then, of course, the Buckner error there at first base on a ground ball. So the Mookie at-bat is fascinating, as there's two aspects to the at-bat. This is the first aspect as we watch right now with the wild pitch. And then, of course, there's Zhu. And then a little later on the ground ball, which wins the game when Wright Knight scores. So let's do the wild pitch first. You're at third base. Was that a bang-bang play? No doubt about it. That was a wild pitch, if you know what I mean, Kev. How about reading that as a base runner there in that 10th inning? Go ahead.
Our third base coach had already gave me the heads up already. He had already told me that Stanley throws a lot of sinkers, and he will bounce a ball, so be prepared, Mitch. And actually, as soon as he said that, he did that, and I ended up scoring on that pitch to tie the game up. So, right. And now, if it wasn't for Buddy Harrelson knowing his baseball the way he did, it wouldn't have never probably happened.
100%. Betty was the third base coach. Mel Stoudemire was the pitching coach. And, of course, Davey Johnson. That was a fascinating ball club, Kev. You played a little bit on the 84 team. You had 7 or 8 games. Didn't play in 85. You came back in 86, and you were a big factor with a lot of veterans. Hernandez, a veteran. Gary Carter, a veteran. Knight had been around a long time. Danny Heapard was a good pinch hitter, been around a long time. That was a veteran. In a lot of ways, there was a lot of veterans on that team. And I know you think you learned a lot from them, especially from Keith. Let's talk about that for a sec. Go ahead.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's no question about it. I learned a lot from a lot of those guys in the clubhouse, how to play the game and get myself prepared, because I was a part-time player. And I tell you who else helped me out a lot was Big Frank Howard and Bill Robinson. That really helped me out, too, that year. And it was just a learning experience for me, man. I was very thankful to be playing in New York City and playing with a bunch of great guys that knew the game. And I think that the fans of New York, the city of New York, if I was able to go anywhere else, and it was a piece of cake to play in, by playing in New 100%.
York. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You learn how to do it in New York. San Francisco, San Diego, not going to be a problem. 100%
yes,
right.
No.
Mets that year. No problem. The Mets that year started at 2-3, and then you played incredible and ran away. How about the start of that season with how good the Mets were? You went to St. Louis in April and killed them, and basically never looked back. Had a lead the whole summer. Kev, talk about the regular season. Go ahead.
Well, the team that I played on, man, we wasn't worried about stats. We was just worried about winning and how we was going to win. If that one guy didn't do it, there was always somebody else picking them up. We had a bench we had a team on the bench that can go out there and replace the starters. That's how good this team was. And it was just, like I said, it was a learning experience for me, and it was an enjoyable year. I still call New York my home. It's my second home beside California.
Wow. Now, did you I know you're part-time. They put you at third base. You played some third base. Did you play third base for Knight? Where did you play that year when Davey got you in these games? Go ahead.
Well, I played anywhere they can put me at. I played every position on the field. So I was just trying to give guys days off and just trying to, make the best of it. It was my first time ever doing something like that. Far as that was the only way I can make the team. I ended up making the team playing. Just Davey said, you're going to play everywhere on the field. So have a glove for everywhere on the field. Thank God I didn't catch, because I tried to catch Doug Sis one year in spring training, and that was the hardest thing to do.
So you played the outfield out there. How about Davey? Cocky manager, but the good thing about Davey, he let the players play. He protected you from the front office. He was sort of a laissez-faire guy in certain ways, had some rules, but, let you go out there and do your thing. Davey was a perfect guy for a young whippersnapper like yourself, Kev. How about that? Go ahead.
No question, Chris. I mean, he actually put me on that team. I didn't have to make that team that year. I mean, he knew I really wanted to play, and I was determined to go out there and play. And I tell you, I tip my hat to Davey. He's done a lot for me in my career, by giving me the obligation to go out here and play, and the confidence to play all these positions when he threw me in that lineup. And I tell you what, the first day that I played against, it was against the Cardinals, and I was playing shortstop. And I came in the clubhouse in St. Louis, and I saw my name in the lineup, and man, wow, I'm in the lineup already against the Cardinals, a running team. These guys still 100 bases. All these guys still 100 bases a year. So, but he
Right.
gave me the confidence to go out there and play.
That's right. You played some short. My era, I should have remembered that. That's how good an athlete Mr. Mitchell was. Middle linebacker and a running back in high school. Let's not forget that. This was a bull as an athlete, and then of course could play anywhere as far as the defense and as far as the defense is concerned. Back to the Schiraldi at bat. You were such a nothing. Pressure never bothered you. You went up there, you hacked away. You knew the strike zone, but you hacked away, and you didn't get too worried about the consequences if you failed. Looking back on it, and you played in World Series for San Francisco and in the postseason with the Giants. In a lot of ways, with 2 outs, that base hit came. That is the most significant bat of your career. I mean, there's no way around it. You make it out there, the Mets lose the World Series, and we're not talking about a 4-part documentary. Of all the great success you had, including MVP, Kev, that's the most important bat of your career against Schiraldi with 2 out in that bottom of the 10th. How about that?
Oh, yes. I think so. But in that situation, I came up having no fear at all, Chris. I either do it or I don't, but in that situation, I didn't want to be the zero. I wanted to be a hero. And and I felt that, like you said, if I wouldn't have never got that hit, we wouldn't be in this situation that right now, where we're at right now. We're old guys now, and I can't believe that where people are still talking about this game, because we got 1 foot in the casket and 1 foot on a banana peel. So, but I'm very thankful that what people are thinking about us and this '86 team and what they're doing right now for the players.
Now listen, the '87 team was a different team, and I got to New York about 4 months after you won, so I knew the '87 team really well. It was a different team. Part of the problem with '87 is they got rid of a few of the guys who were part of '86. They had the issue with Ray Knight with his contract, and they made that trade. Now, they got McReynolds, who is a good player, don't get me wrong, but they traded you in December of '96 to get him. Now, you were in a lot of ways, they're very integral. You had that kind of personality, nothing bothered you, like the media, good to the media. That trade, in a lot of ways, and I'm not knocking McReynolds because he was a hell of a player, but that trade, in a lot of ways, kind of changed the personality of the Met team, and you probably didn't like it. You were going home, but you probably didn't love it. How about 2 months later when Frank Cashin traded you to the Padres? Go ahead.
Yeah, it was kind of upsetting because, right before then, me and Wally Backman sat down in the clubhouse one day, and he said, Mitch, they'll never get rid of you. You're such a good player over here. And I said, well, that sounds good. I mean, my whole career, I always wanted to just stay with one team, and I never understood the, if you're doing well, they trade you. But, now I got to understand the game a little bit more. But I really wanted to stay in New York because I felt New York was my home. and I felt there, and I can walk around the city and be comfortable. But when I went to San Diego, it was just a bad move for me, and I don't think by being at home, they said it was a lot of pressure for me and stuff like that by me growing up the way I grew up. But it wasn't. It wasn't at all. I mean, I just didn't get that chance to play there, and it was thankful that I did get traded 2.5 months later to San Francisco, and that was the best move of my career.
And Al Rosen made that trade. Chris Brown, Mark Davis, I believe, was in that trade. It's a great trade for the Giants. Did it bother you? A lot of people kind of look, Billy Martin got traded here, Kev, way before you and I's time, but he got dealt out of New York once in the late 50s because they thought he was a bad influence on Mickey and Whitey with the Yanks because they had the Coca Cabana fight, famous fight. Billy goes to Kansas City. A lot of people in hindsight, and it's not fair, but a lot of people in hindsight said that the Mets got rid of you because they were worried about your bad influence with the ball club. Now, I don't know why they would worry about that. You just won a World Series, but that was the thought process. They got McReynolds, but that was the thought process. Talk about that for a sec. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, we're going to go ahead and correct that because, I'm a much older man now. I'm an old man now. And, all the little rumors and gimmicks and all this other stuff is all good when you're a young kid. But now, it's time for the real stuff to come out. The rumors that I was a bad influence for Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry, they was in the big leagues way before me. So how can I be an influence on them when they was there before me? I didn't. My career when I left there, I got better, and it didn't go backwards. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. I never did drugs. So I guess everybody thought I did because I was probably so crazy. But no, it was just, what you see is what you get. And I wish I'm the type of person, if it's negative press, it's all good. I got to worry when people stop talking. That's all I do.
Yeah, I wasn't here. Everybody was looking for a reason. But how did they trade Mitchell for McReynolds? And McReynolds did not suit New York at all because he was too quiet and he didn't like the media thing. You kind of grasped it. You kind of liked it. Now, let's do you personally for a sec. I know you had a major issue there with that terrible disc issue about 5 or 6 years ago. How's your health right now? Let me hear it.
I'm still kind of dealing with it. But, like I said, I'm thankful, Chris. I'm walking, riding my motorcycles. I'm playing golf. And I'm very thankful. I'm still going through some little troubles. I'm still trying to get the right leg together. It ended up getting atrophied, but I'm up. I'm walking. I'm gonna keep on pushing. I'm strong. My health is good, and I tell you, I came a long way. But it humbled me a lot. Especially me. I never thought I can ever get hurt like this in my life, and it happened. But I'm still nursing it right now. Right now, I got a shoulder impingement from the L7, from the neck, from getting fused, my neck getting fused. But it's just from playing a lot of golf. That's it.
Nothing wrong with that. I tell you, a lot of Giant fans, they talk about the 93 team with Bonds, Williams, and Clark in the middle of that lineup. And let's face it, it was great. The real Giant fan knows a little something about that 87, 88, 89 team with you in the middle of that lineup, with a young Williams behind you and a young Clark in front of you. That was one hell of a 3-4-5, Mitch. One hell of a 3-4-5.
Yes, sir. And it was all good too, man. I enjoyed the game, man. I really appreciate, if it wasn't for the fans wherever I went, I couldn't have been who I was, Mitchell. Kevin Mitchell. So I enjoyed it.
A hell of a player, great hitter.
Thank you, sir.
I enjoyed it here, Kev. Watch the show here these next 2 nights, this ESPN thing. You're going to like it. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Most
Keep
definitely,
it up.
Chris. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Keep up. Stay up.